Okay, time out. Nick Engvall here. I'm sure many of you have seen the clips of the show across social media, but did you know that you can watch the whole episode, get early access to every single episode, and even check out exclusive episodes of the show? You can join our Patreon for as little as $5 per month, and even cheaper if you sign up for a yearly plan. It helps us keep the show going, and you'll be the first to know about everything going on in our community. If you can support, hit the link in the description to see all the options. Thanks for listening, and now back to the show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sneaker History Podcast. And of course, you see me here running a lone show today, which means it's a Coffee Time Kicks episode. And guys, I am happy to bring to you one of my friends. If you hadn't seen him on social media, you definitely should. He's a great follow, and he has a really, really cool job. I got my buddy Rick Teves here, a.k.a. Soul Specific on Instagram. Rick, what's going on, bud?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Man, not much. I know we were talking a second ago. This has been a few months in the making. We've been trying to get schedules to align, but we finally made it. Dude, I'm really happy to have you on. I'm happy to talk about your job as footwear developer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Cool,
no, I
man.
appreciate having me on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and like any start to a Sneaker History episode, we like to start with what we call rocking and copping. So what's on foot today? What's on the radar? Something you're looking to pick up maybe in the future? What you got, Rick?
Today I wore a pair of the new Puma Inhales. Obviously, I had to wear them to work. So they are part of the reflective packs. So they came out in two colorways. So it's a lot of 3M hits and stuff like that on the actual mesh and then just accents and stuff. So
Cool.
I wore those today on foot. And then as far as things I'm trying to cop, obviously the bread ones that are dropping this weekend. I entered a couple of raffles. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. But I'm pretty sure I'll take an L on that one. So I'm ready for it.
I know that's the one. I know people are just like, there's no real number out there what it is. And
Right.
It seems like all of them already been kind of sold off. So, man, best of luck to you on that one.
Yeah, thank you.
I had two things on foot today because I went to the gym this
Nice.
morning. So first thing is going to be probably one of I think it might be my favorite, like, Puma as of right now, is the Deviate Nitro 3.
Oh, nice. Yep.
I have destroyed this shoe, but I love this one, man. It's a great one.
It's a good shoe.
But then the casual shoe, since I finally got some foams,
yeah.
man, I've
Nice.
been wearing the mess out of these. Like you, I'm trying to get one of those tough releases. I'm going for that. My cop is going to be I'm going to manifest this shoe to pop up in my collection for retail. But the Galaxy foam is like my first L I've ever taken in sneakers back in 2012, and I was like,
Oh, wow.
I worked at Champs before that, so beforehand it was easy. She's like, oh, I just want that. I just put it to the
Right,
side.
set it aside. Exactly.
Then I had to get the real life purchasing after that. I was like, oh, this is what it's like. This sucks.
Yeah. The numbers on that one's supposed to be low as well, like for the foam posit?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't think they're going to be something astronomically high, but I don't think it's going to be something super low either.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, if it's anything like the past releases of the Galaxy stuff, like the LeBron 9s and the KD 4s,
Right.
maybe you have a decent chance.
Right.
Who knows, man? We'll have to wait and see, I guess, next.
Hey, best
Next
of luck
week?
on that one.
Yeah, right. It's like, man, we're all just like
I
hoping for
started
the
on,
best.
right. I started on the sneakers app. I was trying to figure out. I didn't select it because I probably wouldn't have. Like, the shoe is iconic and it has history, but I'll never wear it. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I got to be a little more kind of selective as to what it is that I get and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it's like make it make sense. Like I'm the same way in my collection. Like I there's a lot of things I love, and I was like, man, I want to look at it and see it, but I'll never buy it because it will never get put on my foot. It will literally sit there and collect dust forever.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Same here.
Shoot, man, let's. I want to get right into it. So
Yeah. Please
of course.
ask away.
So if you guys probably could figure out, Rick does work for Puma, and what I guess how did you get into that line of work? Is Puma the first only stop so far? Have you?
No. I did retail for a while, which was kind of like where I got started. I started doing retail like at a running specialty store when I was going to college, and then from there I kind of like took a break off of that.
Okay.
And was doing web design and stuff, and then I got back into the retail management for Adidas and Reebok, and then slowly from there I kind of made my way into Clark's. And when I went to Clark's, I was doing quality control inspections and stuff like that on there, on a lot of the original lines that we had at the distribution center in Pennsylvania. So they would send me down there to look at like collabs and stuff like that. Like we did a bunch with like OVO and everything, so I had to go down there and inspect those. And then from there, I started working with the in-house engineers and basically kind of made my way to the commercialization engineering, which is basically like all your fit and wear test reports, measuring labs, all that stuff and everything. So I started doing that, and then kind of from there moved over to the development side. Was at Clark's doing development for about a year or so, and then applied at Puma and just kind of landed there, which I'm coming up on 3 years at Puma now. So
nice, man. So when we look at developer and designer, one and the same, or you guys work hand in hand?
We work hand in hand. Basically, like the designer will have they'll get the briefings and stuff like that from the sales and merch teams and also the PLMs after they have their meetings. So the product line managers will kind of have a meeting with the designers, and then they'll show them like what it is that they want to, you know, what the market is asking or what the client is looking for and stuff. And then the designer will come together. And then when it gets to the tech packs, we work hand in hand with the designer. So we select materials, help them out and stuff like that. And then once the tech packs are complete, they'll kick them off to us. And then we basically review the tech packs, go through them like with a fine tooth comb, make sure everything's good to go. And then from there, we submit it to the offshore factories and stuff to start ordering materials and just kind of working on that from that point. So,
cool.
We basically take like, I always say like we're kind of like the architect or whatever. So we'll take like the 2D design, you know, whatever's on paper or on a CAD, and then we just basically bring it to life by either, you know, sending like dimensions of stuff that need to be done or ordering new materials and stuff. And then we are in charge of like fit and wear reports, all that stuff too. So.
Oh, cool. So when you guys are doing that, is it when you're building, I guess, the initial idea, I guess that first round of samples, is it something you guys are building in the house, or is it something you guys are having to ship out to factories to get built and sitting back and kind of go back and forth?
Right. Everything is done offshore. When I was at Clark's, we had an in-house sample room that we would kind of like put together, like, and I worked in that room as well. So it kind of got like to working with pattern making and stuff like that. And I also took some courses here and there for making like shoes from scratch and stuff. So, but at Puma, we don't really have the means to do that, and we don't have all the materials that we'd be using. Yeah. So we reach out to our partnering developers overseas, and they basically reach out to the factories and start making the samples in the sample room.
That's so cool. I mean, I'm sure
it's a process.
I bet, man. Like people are just like, "Oh, I got the shoe," and they don't really see the behind the scenes. And it's like there's so much. Like even from that, you condensed it down so much of what you've done. I can tell. Like it's just like, hey, point A to point B, but I know there's all these little, you know, intricate things in between, which is really cool to really get kind of that insight, because again, we all see the end product, but what goes into it? Like, what is the reasoning? Like, why did we go with this material versus that? Or like you said, even like quality controls. I know a lot of people talk about quality controls from other brands. Yep. And I mean, I can tell you that as I've been doing sneakers, like sneaker media for the last 5 or 6 years, I don't ever hear quality issues from the two brands you just named, from Puma and Clark's. You don't hear about the quality of that or like. So I mean, hey, you guys have done from all your stops. I've definitely been doing your thing, man.
No, it's definitely true. Plus, a lot of the things too, like when you start getting into more quality issues, is when you're doing mass quantities or a large forecasting. So like that's where you start running into problems, because you're trying to meet the quota of when it has to be done, and then you're basically pushing out large volumes of shoes. So you know, there are tolerances that they allow in the factories and stuff like that. So sometimes when people get a shoe and they look at it hand in hand, say these are all like the insider stuff. Like I could sit here and talk about it for days, and you'd probably be like, all right, this is too short. I mean, too long of a pod. But you know, we have like variances and allowances that we can have, or the factories have. So when they look at something that's up to like 2 or 3 mil, that they can kind of go either way. So when they're looking at something, if it's not exactly a mirror image, they still have that allowance, because obviously as you're putting it in machines to last or anything like that, like there's going to be some kind of variances and stuff. So
so you have that plus minus basically. It's like, hey, you know what, we can live a little bit here if it's that, or that makes sense. Like you said, it's a lot of things you're putting out, and I mean, even if we just look at Puma right now, I mean, I feel like you guys have been on an absolute just tear, from lifestyle to fitness and running, of course, basketball. Is there a particular division you're working in, or are you kind of?
I primarily work on the RCC team, which is the Regional Creation Center. Okay. The Regional Creation Center consists of me working on lifestyle, sports style, and then also run train. I do a lot of that stuff. And then if we have any basketball collabs and stuff like that, if they can, you know, if there's kids or stuff like that, they'll do the adults, and they kind of like hand us down the kids or whatever. So we basically grade them down to the kids and everything. But I've worked on like Yeah, I could probably like send you a list of all the
Just scrolls down.
exactly the collabs and everything and stuff like that. Stuff that's just been out in the market or hitting the market now and everything. Because
Yeah.
like I'm coming up on 3 years, so we work on the RCC team about a year out, 9 months to a year out.
Okay.
So we're quicker to market than most places. We don't have like the traditional 18-month window or calendar that most programs have. So it's a little bit faster.
It's a quick turnaround, especially when you're doing so many different models. Because I mean, from like you mentioned, Inhale was it last year? It was introduced.
Yep. With ASAP.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they got the inline models now. I've seen a couple pop up at Foot Locker, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And then of course you get all the Deviate stuff. I know even their like collaboration with Hyrox, that whole organization. So a lot of parts going on.
Yeah, and we did like the first collab using a performance running shoe with Brooklyn Circus. So
I saw that one.
That one was my little baby, myself and the designer, Brian. We worked on that and stuff. So that was like mine, that one, and also the Clyde. That was one that we had worked on and stuff. There was a lot of going back and forth, selecting the materials, the gradients, the colors, everything. So
that one, I like that Deviate. So it's funny you said that because this one, like I always have a bad habit of going on websites and just creating accounts and just sticking stuff in my like cart wish list and like, I'm going to come back to you. And that Brooklyn Circus was I was like, let me tear these up first before I get another pair.
Yeah.
I've gone through each of them so far. Like I actually, so the first Deviate Nitro, that it was the SP, it was the one with like the rainbow colors on it.
Yeah. Yep.
I ran my first ever half marathon in that shoe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, dude. And I really is like fell in love with that shoe afterwards, and had the 2, 3, and it's like, okay, now I want to try the.
Have you tried the Elite?
That's the one I want to try. I want to try the Elite 3. Okay. That's the one I've been looking at. Is that neon green, that Hyrox one? I was like, all right, let's. Because I was talking to Matt Hatfield over at Nice Kicks, and he does Hyrox, and we were talking about that particular shoe when we were on an episode, and I was like, man, I never thought about, because Hyrox is just more like, I feel like is CrossFit on steroids.
Yeah, it's like an upgrade or an upscale version of CrossFit and stuff.
Yeah, and so my wife and I, we do CrossFit. I was like, well, let me see if I can like make it work in this shoe. And I've been working out, and it's like, oh, okay, it actually pretty stable for everything I do, and not just the running part. So like, okay, I might have to just add this to the repertoire. But it's just cool. I mean, I like the things you guys are doing.
Yeah,
like I say, it is a lot of, I feel like out of the ordinary, but still like very in line with what people want. So I look at things like the upcoming, or I guess it's out now, Ninja Turtles collaboration you guys did with Mellow Ball. I mean, every generation has some kind of Ninja Turtle media that they've seen or been a part of, and it reaches a whole lot of people. The pack is awesome, from 2 turtles in one shoe to the Shredder, the Crag, all this stuff is just very creatively put together, so it can work for both kids but also adults who have that nostalgia for Ninja Turtles at that point. Right. Well, did you work on that one?
I worked on the kids, the Mellow 4. So the one that's the split turtles, where like one is Leonardo, one's Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo. The kids on juniors and preschool, I did those. I worked on those.
Do you guys have like, for those? I mean, I kind of kids' feet are just like kind of a different animal than like adults. Do you guys have kids come in and like wear test those? Because kids will beat down a shoe like nobody's business.
Yeah, we don't. I think they did at one point, or we have a lot of fit and wear testing overseas.
Okay.
So some of the times they'll do that, but like normally what we do is we just grade it down from the adults.
Okay.
So usually if the fit and wear passes on the adults, it's going to pass on the kids and stuff. But like the kids, if you look at them, because of keeping the costs down and everything else, there's less technology usually. I mean, like if you look at there's going to be less midfoot arch support or whatever, so it's just kind of a tear down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, shoot, man, as you go through your projects, like you see, you have your list of projects you've worked on. I'm sure a ton of things you'll see in the future. What's some of your favorite ones that you've like been a part of through your time, whether it be Puma, Clark's, or whatever ones that just kind of like stood out to you?
It would probably, I mean, I hate to say this, but it's going to be all Puma, because when I was at Clark's, it was primarily the stuff they had me working on was women's slippers and sandals. So nothing exciting. I mean, it's a brown shoe company, and like all the cool stuff is done in the UK. So like I was US based, so occasionally we would get like the Clark's, the Wallabies, the Desert Boot, and stuff like that stuff would come our way for fit and wear or inspections or whatever, but we never actually developed that stuff in-house.
Oh, okay.
So I'll say all Puma stuff that I've worked on, probably one of the ones that got the best feedback so far would be the Brooklyn Circus, the Clyde, and then the Deviate. And then I also did the Lambs Suede, the one that was the tearaway canvas on top. So it had yeah. So that one got like a ton of like traction and stuff like that once it dropped, and everybody was kind of like, so that was cool. Like it was kind of like it went under the radar, no one knew about it. Then all of a sudden people started posting on social, so it kind of like got a lot of like hype that way. So it was cool.
I see.
Trying to think what else I've worked on. There's a couple of Suede XL squeezes, which it's not squeeze anymore. They have a rubber toe guard. That toe cap and stuff like that was a development that I had worked on. So like we basically took a suede, kind of fattened it up a little, made it look more stylish, like towards skate influence, where it has more padding, wider platform, and then we actually put like a rubber toe on it. So one of our designers, Jeff, came up with that design, and then we just kind of went that way. And the whole thing behind it originally was called the squeeze because it was supposed to be like squeezed toothpaste, like out of a tube. So like the laces had all the different colors of the toothpaste and stuff. So that was a cool one that we worked on.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think like off the top of my head right now
There's like tons of them.
I mean, like I said, I think I looked at what I'm working on right now, and I think I have like 147 SKUs that I'm developing at the moment. And I'm probably going to be getting more because all of our factories were on Lunar New Year break, so they just came back from that.
Yeah.
So once they come back, we're going to start getting like the briefs and stuff, and just kind of go again. Yeah.
So how do you split your time between all those SKUs? Like, it's only 8 hours in the. Well, assume 8 hours in a day, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you only work so many hours in a day.
I mean, we like last night I was on a call with the Asia team, like at 10 o'clock at night. You know, it's because they're coming in, they're 12 hours different, so they're coming in. So we kind of do it that way. But yeah, it's taxing for sure. You know, like it's definitely like the day isn't long enough, and sometimes like you have your breaks, but then when you're busy, you're slammed. So it works both ways.
Yeah. So I've seen on your Instagram, and I'm like, man, some of the stuff you post is like some of your creations you put together.
My own customs, yeah.
I love that because you put stuff together. I'm looking like, I never would have thought of that, and that's amazing. Like, is that something you do at home, or is like it's your spare time? Like, you know what? Let's do it and see like what it looks like and how it works.
Well, like by default, not I guess by me getting involved in footwear, I started kind of doing customizing about 10 years ago. So I started just by like painting and doing the whole, you know, you go on YouTube and see somebody doing it. You know, obviously Mosh was one of the front runners who was doing it at first and stuff. And then from there, I started watching other guys like Sneakerhead in the Bay. I was getting tips from him. And slowly I've gotten better and better and better, obviously like 10 years in now. But like there's guys like shout out to Dylan De Jesus from he does a lot of stuff that like I'll reach out to him sometimes for tips, and he's great at like getting back to me and everything. So it's just the community has gotten a lot better, and it's weird because like in the customizing world, like you see a lot of these guys, like for example, Dylan De Jesus, Souls by Sarah down in Miami, he's doing like classes and stuff. Dylan's doing classes.
It's crazy.
There's other designers, customizers now that are doing like classes that teach you how to customize. When I was starting, if I reach out to somebody like, hey man, how'd you do this? I'm just curious. They're like, yeah, sorry, you got to learn just like I did. So it's like learn by mistake, you know, trial and error. So I'm like, you know, I ruined so many pairs of shoes, like doing stuff. I'm like, but luckily I figured it out by now. So yeah, to answer your question, I just do customs and I do builds, ground up builds, decon, recons. I do hybrid soul swaps and stuff like that. So it's just a mixture of everything.
Well, see, the latest one I saw you do was the suede mid with the crepe bottom.
Yeah.
First of all, like that looked good. Like that was awesome. I have always had this thing with the crepe bottom, so that's why you say Clark's. I was like, oh, dude, I always like the Wallabies and Desert Boots. Always love those like kind of like beeswax those bottoms. But how like
that was like a shoe that I like. Adidas had done it with Ronnie Fag. They had done the Gazelle with Clark's, so they did that collaboration that everybody was like crazy about. I'm like, all right. When I was at Clark's, we could wear any brand because they weren't direct competitors to Clark's.
Okay, makes sense.
So I would, you know, if you look at my Instagram posts, it's always like kicks and coffee. I'd have my feet up on the desk with like a different pair of shoes every day because I could wear that to Clark's. At Puma, we have to wear Pumas because it's
makes sense.
Can't wear competitor brands unless it's a pair of Clark's or something because it's not a direct competitor.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, what can I do that is kind of taking where I am now and where I came from the past? So I decided to kind of mix, my old stomping grounds of Clark's, and do it with a suede mid. So yeah, and it was like I tried to get it done because we had line freeze meetings in Germany, so it was last January. So I tried to like get it on, and I was on foot walking through like Germany headquarters, and people were like, "Wait, when did those come out?" I'm like, "No, that's the 101." They're like, "Oh," so it got some like a little of attention here and there and stuff. So
Look, I'm waiting for you to have a whole new model come out because they're gonna see what you've been making. Like, look, let's just let him have free reign, give him all the materials.
Yeah. I mean that's the dream or the hope, that they would kind of like give me that freedom, but we'll see. Yeah.
Hey, man, just keep doing it because I definitely taking notice. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh man, of course. Now you mentioned something I was going to ask you about. So of course, working at Puma, you can only wear Puma to work.
Yep.
How's it affect your personal collection? Because I'm sure it's like Monday through Friday. It's like I can only wear this, but and I got squeezing all these wears Saturday and Sunday for other things.
Exactly. Like my wife would be like, "What are you doing? Putting on like 2 pairs of shoes in one day?" You know what I mean? Like so Saturday will come up, I'll grab like a pair of Jordan 1s or Air Maxes or Air Max 90s, whatever, throw those on. Go out for a little bit, come back, swap out something else, whatever. And she's like, "Where are you going now?" I'm like, "I just put, you got to wear them because if I don't wear them, they're gonna go stale in the boxes." You know what I mean? So I'm like, I got to wear them.
Yep. I feel the same. So actually, I work from home, so I don't go anywhere. So I'll sit there like if I go to a grocery store, or I will find a way to put pairs of shoes on and do the most minuscule task.
Right.
Just like, we're going to put the trash out. Oh, let's put a pair of shoes on because I got to wear them so they don't crumble on me.
Yeah.
But it's cool because I mean, still you get your collection. You get to still like have a love of sneakers at work as well. So whenever you are in the process of building a shoe, are you already like, okay, like can you already tell when something's gonna be a hit when you're building it?
For myself or at Puma?
All right, Puma. Like when you're building a sneaker at Puma, when you're working with the design team, it's something you can kind of gauge as like, oh, okay, I know who's gonna like this one. I know who's gonna like that one. Just be the sneakerhead yourself, a collector.
Yeah. I mean, it's hit or miss. I'll be honest. Like, if I said, everyone's going to be a banger now. Some like, and then some of the problem that I've said this since day one when I was at Clark's too, that it's discouraging because like we'll work hard with the designers and overseas teams picking up materials, and shoes will make it to like second round of samples, and they'll look great. And then if the sales and merchandising team doesn't think that it's going to have a place in the market, they'll kill it at the last minute because it doesn't make sense to go forward with it. So like. Now you've put in a lot of time, developing and designing. It doesn't make it. So we've had we have our walls like I guess you could call it the wall of shame. It's like a bunch of shoes that like never made it, but they're cool and stuff like that. So there's a few that like you see and like, all right, like we're working on a few I can't mention, but there's new styles coming out that the designers are kind of revamping and stuff and kind of predicting on what the trends will be by the time they hit the market and everything. So, I would say, if anyone likes Puma or is kind of getting into Puma, definitely keep your eye out what's coming up in the next year or so because there's going to be like I'd say like 5 or 6 different models that'll be, they're like completely ground up rebuilds, like TNs,
cool.
Everything. So something that we've never really had before. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for that. Now, I'm going to ask you for all those ones who are, all those shoes that didn't make it. I know typically, the sample like size is 9. Is anybody a size 9 walking around just like, I'm gonna take those home? Or can you keep them? Like if they're just like, hey, we're gonna trash them.
We will wait until like if it's a shoe that's canceled altogether, then it's kind of like either shred it or if one of the designers want to keep them there. Obviously, they're all labeled and stamped. Sample, do not resell.
Yeah.
But I would say like 90% of the designers, we'll go 80. They're sample size. So like
that must be nice. God, right.
So if they work on something, they're like, oh damn, it didn't make it to the market. All right, cool. Can I get those? And I'll just hand it to them after we're done. Like after they cancel it and everything in our programs, we're like, hey, do you guys want these? We have like several sample sizes, pairs, whatever.
Oh, that's
cool. Take them and then they'll wear them or they'll just use them for future references. So if they come back, maybe that somewhere down the road, maybe now the market thinks that that's going to have a chance. They'll hold on to it and use it as a reference shoe and be like, hey, let's go off of this, but revamp it a little. So
that's cool, man. I wish I was a sample size. I'd be the worst.
Me too. I'm a size 11, so I'm always like, all right, I guess I got to order all my stuff.
Got to buy them, I guess, guys. Yeah, exactly. I'm a 10, so I'd be like, look, let me just take the insole out, squeeze my foot in. Like, let's see. Right. Oh, do you so I guess I was going to ask, I lost my train of thought because I laughed at that. But whenever you guys are going in. It's like, I got this sample. We're building it out. We're going all these rounds. Do you ever look up one day and you're like, oh, let me scroll through my normal sneaker media? It's like, ah, crap, how did they get a picture of this? Like, do you guys ever have that moment you're like, how in the world did this get out?
It's surprising because I'm probably one of the people that are in my department or my team that kind of like are always looking at what's in social or what's kind of like coming up.
Yeah.
So I'll come into work. I'm like, hey, did you guys notice this? So and so has this already on their page. How do they get these images? And 95% of the time, it's stuff that was leaked that's going to hit the market.
Yeah.
I have yet to see anything, to answer your question, that's hit photos but never made it. You know what I mean? So it's usually, if it doesn't make it, you never really see it. It never sees the light of day, like on social or anything like that.
Okay.
Unless one of the designers decides, like, hey, I'm posting my wall of shame, and they kind of like, they'll have like a whole,
their stuff.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always wonder, like, man, it's like, how does that feel like as someone who's like working their butt off on their shoe? They look up and like, who in the world took this picture of an unfinished shoe, and now the world sees it before we're done with it, and all their stories out. So that's crazy to me. I still don't understand how that works, but
yeah, it's definitely an interesting world. And people are like, it's just shoes. I'm like when I tell people like what I do, like, dude, you have the dream job. I'm like, to me, I love it. But like it's every day 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like I don't like, I'm thankful for it and I love doing it. But like, I guess some people like that. You have a really cool job. I'm like, oh, all right. Like it doesn't like maybe because I've been doing it for so long. Like yeah, it is a cool job. But some of these people are just like, yeah, it's shoes. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like I'm a sneakerhead at heart. I love sneakers. I love shoes. So like anything to me is like, this is cool. But
for sure. I think it's just because we get programmed to seeing the same jobs over and over. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm not in sales, or oh man, Rick's not in sales. He's not a banker. He's not this. It's like, this is cool because like it's not something you think about. It's like, well, sneakers, and I'm like, I mean, but like you said, still a 9 to 5, and I can only imagine like the deadlines you guys are dealing with, especially around like well, now it seems I didn't realize how sneakers have impacted things like Paris Fashion Week now, New York Fashion Week, of course, the holidays, back to school, all that stuff. It's like you guys are constantly on the clock, and I'm sure you just probably, for all those SKUs, there's like a deadline on each of them, most likely.
Yep. And then anytime that like we're getting partnerships with, last year we had a partnership with the All-Star Weekend and stuff like that because we had a couple of models that players were using and stuff, so we had to like have certain things done. There's movie releases that we do with like special collabs for. So if a movie is hitting the market on a certain date, that shoe has to be, ready to go and ordered and stuff like that and hit the stores before the movie actually releases or just in time. Obviously, you don't want to miss that deadline. So like there's a lot of, I mean, you can't really tell Hollywood like, hey, push back the movie because our shoe's not done.
Hold on, guys. Like, we're not done yet. Now, speaking of special events, I mean, we got All-Star Weekend this weekend, and two-time reigning champ Mac McClung in the dunk contest. Is there anything you can tell me he's wearing special, or? I
couldn't even tell you. Like, it's not even that. I'm gonna say we just dropped the all gold. I think it was like the Clyde Pro on the website. There's like an all gold version of it.
Was it?
I would say maybe he's wearing that one. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Then there's like that elite one that we dropped. That's like $250.
Yeah,
that one, I'm sure somebody's gonna be wearing it. So yeah, like the basketball is like its own little like separate entity. Like those guys are like workhorses. They're always traveling. Basketball, I mean, Melo kind of like brought them in, but like they hit the market, and I think we've been back in basketball for maybe 6 years now or something like that.
It's only sounds about right. Yeah,
it's only been like 6 or 7 years they've been in full bore, and they're blowing up. I mean, there's a lot of models. Obviously, like we have Stewie, she's got her own like line. Her shoe is probably like, from like my take, it's one that I can relate to the most. And I'm like, it's a woman's shoe, but like obviously it comes in unisex sizes. But like a lot of the stuff that they've done or the storytelling behind that shoe is always like kind of something I could relate to more. I could see myself wearing.
For sure.
Though but yeah.
Oh, for sure. I love the one she had for the Olympics. Is that Paris themed one?
Yep.
Oh man, that one was it sold out like that. I was like, oh, god dog it, but no, it was. I like what they did there. I mean, I should have brought it up. It's in my closet over here. I have the first three basketball shoes. I think that came back to market that were like the premier shoes. So it was the Clyde that was all knit.
Oh, and that with the cup sole. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a heck of a performer. Like I was like
Yeah.
questioning it at first, but I put it on court. Like, man, this thing it locks you in there, and
Yep.
it is solid. And then I had the so it was All Star 2020. Y'all brought this one. That was when at the time J. Cole was with you or just got with you guys, and it was the Sky Dreamer.
Okay.
Not it was all nice materials. Like you guys revamped it to have more fuse, but you still kept like the leather collar, leather strap on it, and then put of course the rubber with the nitro foam in it. And that nitro foam is solid. Whenever y'all put it in, like it is a legit cushion.
It is, and they're coming out with there's the nitro, like the Elite is like a different density of nitro. So if you get like the DV83 Elite, you'll notice it's got the carbon plate, and then it also has two different densities of nitro foam. So
cool.
You'll feel the difference between, like, if you're used to running the DV8 and you go to the DV8 Elite, it's like a night and day difference. Like one is like a true racer shoe or like marathon shoes, so it wouldn't be like your everyday trainer. It's a little lighter weight. The materials are kind of more flimsy and flexible, so it's not something you want to wear every day. But like underfoot, you notice a difference.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna definitely. That's definitely like I got a checklist of things I need to add to the collection this year, and that's one of them. And do you guys see? I mean, of course, you guys follow the trends, like you said. The sales and marketing team will go in like what fits in the market at a particular time. In your SKUs that you're working on, are you seeing an uptick in a particular type of shoe, like more of the like technical runners, more of the classics? Is there anything that's being prioritized more than another?
The Y2K, which is kind of like I hate to say it, but like it's in the market. ASICS is doing it, New Balance is doing it, Saucony is doing it.
Everybody.
Like those brands came back strong with doing that style. So we have a few models that are kind of like influenced by that or fall into that area with a little revamping. So that's kind of like I would say that's the trend or kind of like areas that we're going to be like kind of excelling in. But then, like I said, there's models that they kind of like use those for inspiration and kind of went like, completely way out in left field and changed it up a lot. So
that's cool. Well, did you consider, I don't know, does this fall under basketball, but Melo's lifestyle shoe? Is that something you work? I have a pair of those, and it reminds me of old Y2K like skate shoes. Like, so I didn't know if that would kind of fall under your jurisdiction, or is that still under the Puma?
That's the basketball, but like the LaFrance RSXs, I did all of those. The LaFrance Slipstream with the strap.
Yeah.
I did that as well. Like that was actually, I have the sample shoe at my desk. Like basically they like, hey, how can we get a strap on this? And they were trying to figure out how to do it. So I came home with my little tinkering and stuff like that, and basically like did a prototype of a strap and everything, and did pictures and sent off a copy to the factory, and they basically mimicked it, and that's what went to production. So like that's one of my little moments that I have at my desk that I'm like, all right, this is cool. Like that went to production. It was my little basement shop that I did. So yeah.
Man, get this man a shoe. Come on, get this man his own collection. He's out here solving your problems for you. Now that's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Now, outside of work, I mean, what really drew you to sneakers? What everyone has that first one, or that one is like, man, this is what kind of got me addicted, if lack of better words.
Right. No, I mean, I've always been into shoes. I didn't start my collection or my obsession until later in life, which is kind of crazy because like for a while I'd have like a random kind of like Air Max 90 that everyone had, or Air Max 1 or whatever, right? And then I was just like, I'm not really into shoes that much. I don't really go out that much to using shoes. And then as I got into working like at the running specialty store, like I was saying, I kind of like, we learned there basically like how to like fit people properly and everything, and learn all the technologies that went into shoes. So it kind of made me like understand the differences between shoes. And so from there I just got like more and more. But I would say the shoe that kind of got me into the whole thing, obviously I'd love to say it was the Jordans, but it wasn't. It was the Mags. Like when I saw Back to the Future.
Okay.
I was like, all right, that movie came out. I'm like, dude, I was a fairly young kid. So when I saw it, I'm like, this shoe is cool. And then I think, I can never remember the name, but it's like the Nike pump that came like in the big plastic container.
Not Command Force.
No, it wasn't the Command Force. I was on go. Like I got it in my cart. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up on my. I'm not trying to be. I don't want to be rude here, but it might.
No, you're good, because I was going to sit there and think of it too. Cause I know it had like like I said, like a big cooler almost that comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the name of that?
I might still have it in my history because like I bought it and I hit on it on sneakers app, and then it was like $300. I'm like, all right, am I gonna actually wear this?
Oh my gosh, it was that much?
Yeah, and this is like modern day that it released, and I'm like, all right, am I gonna wear this? And I ended up canceling it. So I'm kicking myself in the ass now because it would have been a cool piece just to have.
Gotta go to eBay, man. See if you find you a good, lightly worn.
Yeah, you can find them on Goat. I mean, eBay, they're all beat. But like, if you get them on Goat, they're still up there in price too. I think they're like going for high 2s or 3s. So I'm like, all right, I don't really want to spend that on a shoe that's just going to sit there.
I'm right there with you, man. It's like, ooh, I like it, but ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm just scrolling here, so don't.
No, you're good. Goodness.
I'm not trying to be rude here.
No, dude, we do this all the time on our episods. We'll stop and try to find a shoe.
Right,
hold on, we got this.
I mean, now I'm getting really sad because I just realized how many shoes I bought on the sneakers app. Like, oh shit, this is a lot of shoes.
Oh, the air pressure.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. You beat me to it.
This sucker is huge. I forgot how big this shoe
was.
So
when that shoe came out, there was a local sneaker shop in the town that I grew up in, right? And it was Ryan and Son, so they called it the Gob Shop. And it was like a store that catered to all the high schools and middle school teams and stuff like that. So you could go in there to get uniforms. They also had a huge selection of running shoes, cross trainers, and it was usually like Nike, I want to say Tonic at the time, Avia. So it was like all brands that kind of no longer really at that hype, but at the time they were. And they had those, and I walked in and I was like, Mom, I want these. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, they're the closest thing to the mags, because the mags were never going to release for the general public.
Yeah.
But when you looked at like the silhouette, how it was kind of like a high shoe that went up the ankle and everything, and I saw that shoe, I'm like, all right, I need this. And my mom saw the price, actually, I'm not getting that. So I'm like, all right, cool, I guess I'm not getting it. So that kind of like made me want shoes more and more. And then obviously growing up in the era of like Jordan, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, Barry Sanders, like all those like trainers, the elites, the turf shoes and stuff. It's just like I came up in a good era, I guess you could say. Like, so all these classics that like are dropping again.
Yes,
those were things that we were wearing on our feet every day back then. Yeah. So
it's amazing to see that kind of stuff come back. I mean, especially like the turf shoes. I feel like are making a comeback. Yeah, for the Deion stuff. Reebok brought back the Emmitt Smiths, the preseason '94s.
Yep,
those are cool shoes. I mean, I feel like they're a little harder to wear every day now as adults.
Exactly,
but they're just cool pieces. I mean, and when you put them on, they're still decently comfortable as well because they're meant to be like run around in. And it's one of those things. Is like I like that. I mean, we're in a place with sneakers now where at least I hope it stays like this for a little bit longer, where we're not having to break our necks to buy particular pairs. So it's nice to be able to go back in and like, oh, let me try this on. Let me go get this. So like you said, from my childhood, let me go try to grab one of these for retail and be able to add it to the collection as opposed to having to spend, gratuitous amounts of money.
Exactly.
Because this is a big nostalgia hobby we're in. I mean, like I went to the mall the other day and KD4 Pros were sitting there.
Yeah.
They came out like right after I got out of college. I was like, they were super hard to find then, and I wasn't paying resale because people were silly. Like $800 was like the average price, and found them for $130. How often will I wear them? Not that often. They're really pink.
Probably never. Right.
But it's like one of those. It's like like you. It's like things I missed out on like as a kid, or know. It's like I add those to the collection. It's like probably not the best habit, but there's worse things out there.
There is. I mean, I always talk to like obviously like buddies of mine that have like podcasts and stuff like that. Like I'll talk to them and everything, and then we go back and forth. And I'm always like, that's my vice. And I tell my wife too. I'm like, listen, it could be worse. I could be out there doing a lot worse things than buying shoes and stuff. So, but like the problem that she has with me now is I'm running out of room to store them. And I see behind you got a big ass wall of shoes too. So you know the problem. I'm like,
then the messed up part is I would love to be like, oh, that's it. That's all of them. No, that's just the ones that have boxes that can like stand. So on my right, I have clear boxes with some of my like my personal favorites are in those clear boxes. I have a closet that's filled to the brim. I'm like this, and I keep getting rid of them. Like family of mine who's size 10, I will. Yep. I mean, there's some shoes I beat to the ground, and those are just gone. Those are ones I keep because I've worn them to death. But things that I maybe never saw the light of day, or maybe once or twice, I hand them out to my dad's my size, my youngest brother's my size, and then on my wife's side, we have a couple cousins who are my size. So I literally like fill the truck up and just like take them. And I still come back. Why are there still so many shoes left here? What's going on?
Like I'll do an annual purge or biannual purge. Like I'll do it twice a year and stuff like that. And kind of like all right, I need to get rid of some stuff that I'm not really wearing. What am I going to wear? So like, I think it was right before the fall. I purged out like 50 pairs. Like I just gave them to like a homeless shelter. I was like, here, take these.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And half of them, like, I would say half of them probably been worn maybe 2 times. So like, and the thing with me, like, I don't beat my shoes. So like, anytime that you see a pair of my shoes that look like they just came out of the box for the first time. So like, people getting them, they're like, oh, these are brand new. I'm like, no, they've been worn. Like, when did you wear these, or where did you wear them? Because they look brand new.
Like, I just take care of them, man.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I'll do that occasionally, like twice a year or so, like purge and then kind of restock, purge, restock. I'll have a yard sale and put them out there, and people are like, "Why do you have so many shoes?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it." Like, just they're going.
Don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions. You can get a nice pair of shoes for $20. Take it. You know what I mean? So,
I think people are like, when they see that too, they're like, "Oh, they're real," because most time people are trying to flip these for a crazy profit. I'm like, no, it's like things that are that close to me. Either I'll keep it or give it to someone who I know will appreciate it. I'm not looking to flip my collection for a profit. That's not why I got the sneakers. It's like, if I can give them to somebody who can appreciate it and wear them and have a use out of it, who needs them, I'm all for it, because I bought them already. Like, it's not like I'm not a retail store trying to make a profit of it. I enjoy them. Let's the next person enjoy them.
Right. Now, let me ask you a question. What's the oldest shoe that you have? If you got to think about it,
it's right next to it's right next to me.
Oh, damn.
It's right next to me. I always keep it because I can still wear them, which is crazy. So I got these junior, senior in high school. I think it was a senior. Pharrell's ice cream.
Oh, the ice creams. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have the date. I think these are 2006.
I was going to say like mid-2000s, right? Early to mids.
Yeah. And so I grew up in a small town, and I always tell this story, and people are like, what? Our Champs had closed down. Or no, our Foot Action had closed down for a while for some reason. Don't know why, but for about a year or so it closed down, and they were dumping inventory. And I walked in, 16-year-old, 17-year-old, I had my job, but it's like, you weren't gonna spend all your money on one pair of shoes, and these were expensive at the time. I remember, at least for a kid. And they walk in, I have a pile of them that are like $19.99.
Oh,
I'm like, what? I remember I just stopped. I was with my parents and my brothers at the time. I'm like, hold on, we got to stop here for a second. And had my size, and I hadn't looked back since. And they still wearable. They're a little bit of fading on them, but dude, I have this pair, and I feel like I have another really old pair floating around here somewhere. I don't know. There's just too much stuff in here to even keep track of. I mean, I have 2011 black cement 3s that finally fell apart on me. Wore them to death. I mean, I got 12 years out of them before they started falling apart. So
can't complain. You got your money's worth.
Man, yeah. And I got them on discount because I worked at Champs. I think I got them for $111 with my employee discount.
Even better.
I was like, man, I need to go work in a shoe store again part time or something.
Just get that discount. That's funny.
What about you, man? What's the oldest thing you got floating around out there?
I think as I was asking that, I'm like, wait, if I'm asking him, he's going to ask me. I think the oldest one I have is the Air Max 2003. So that silver one that had the full length Air. That was like super. Almost looked like the Mayfly upper. Like it's really like slim. That one I have, and the bubble has yellowed pretty much through. But like I've tried to like restore it, heat set it so it kind of takes out the fogging and everything like that. But I think like almost every year I'll take them out for like Air Max Day and just like walk around and be like, all right, they're still good. They haven't fallen apart yet.
Just gotta squeeze a little bit. Are we good? Ooh, that would scare me. He's like walking and go.
Yeah,
like
I mean, I guess quality then was a lot better than it is now because they're lasting. I mean, 2003, so we're talking about going to be 22 years now.
22 years, yeah.
So the shoe's old enough to drink.
That's great. You know that Air Max series is like when I used to do the numbered or year Air Max up to about, I think, 2011.
Yeah, I think that's when they went the Roy.
Yeah, I love the 11s though. It was like the all fuse upper. I had like 3-4 pairs of those. They were just super comfortable, really futuristic looking. I wish they would go back to some of those, like bring some of them back out.
Yeah, I tried like the new ones that they have, the DNs and stuff like that. And I'm like, I think I got the size one that they did, like the collab that they did with size. That was like a muted color, and then they painted like the air bubbles and everything, so it was like all painted as opposed to transparent. And I got them, and I think I ordered them in 2 different sizes. I'm like, I don't know how the shoe runs. The 11 was too snug. The 11 and a half, I was swimming, so I'm like, this thing is not comfortable. It's just kind of sent them both back. I'm like, all right, I'm done with this model.
Maybe 11 and a quarter.
Right. So,
I didn't, at first, I'll say I did not like the DN. I finally broke down and got a pair, because I think I got them on sale or something, but I got the Olympic pair. I like them. Now, do I wear them a lot? No, but they're actually decently comfortable. But things like the 720, I had to bring that shoe back. I felt like I was unbalanced the entire time I was wearing that. It was like that weird bubble with the hollowed out in the middle.
Yep.
The shoe made no sense. I feel like I couldn't drive in them. I feel like my gas pedals were gonna get stuck in the shoe some kind of way.
Right.
But I think a lot of things where people are hungry, at least from Nike, for more innovation, because everybody else is doing it. I mean, from you guys at Puma to other brands, Saucony, Reebok just dropping their first basketball shoe in over a decade. People are out here, these brands are really going out of their way to try new things, innovate. Like you said, you guys have things coming up in the future we're going to be looking out for that are from the ground up.
Yeah.
So it is, I think as sneakerheads, sneaker collectors, we look to Nike. It's like, hey, you guys are the biggest ones in the room. We love our retros, but there's still some creativity. I think. I mean, it's one of the big things that we're looking for. But I feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword, because once they give you something creative, sometimes people will bring me a Jordan 1 back. Like, okay, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too at this point.
Well, they tried. I mean, when they went when they pushed the Vapor Maxes too. Remember the Vapor Max, and they were kind of pushing that as the new Air Max, and you couldn't even walk in those things without sounding like you were wearing track spikes.
It was a cleat.
Yeah, it was a cleat.
It was snapping around.
Right. And the rubber that they used on the outsole was hard. It didn't grip. It just slipped. The airbags didn't collapse. It just stayed solid. I'm like, is there any is there air in there, or is it just solid nothing? You know,
it's shocks. It's what's going on here? There's no springs in this shoe. Which as a kid, that was heartbreaking to figure out. There's no springs. Vince Carter lied to me.
Exactly. The Boeing commercials. Yeah, I remember that.
But, so do you guys? I'm trying to phrase this in a way that you can answer. Technology wise, is the nitro foam going to be something you guys stick with for a while? I know innovation is always something you're trying to find the next better thing. I know there's nitro, and then there's the nitro SQD.
I believe so, yes. And then there's the nitro elite.
Okay.
There's also for the lower lines, there's pro foam. There's I forget the other foam that we have, but there's foam light, I think. So there's all different technologies, but I think they're always looking for new innovations, because obviously the nitro, they want to start kind of bringing it to the lifestyle side and not just the performance side, but they were trying to keep it so when we first started using it, they just wanted to be associated with the higher end kind of performance, because a lot of these brands, when they start using the technology in the lifestyle stuff, it kind of dumbs it down, or it kind of cheapens it a little. So they just try to avoid that. But I think they're going to be incorporating it just to kind of get the hype. So when they do that, they'll probably be doing another innovation of nitro in some way, a shape. And then it's all stuff that they do in the labs. There's engineers that are sitting there constantly doing formulas and stuff, trying to come up with new technologies, and so it's kind of crazy.
Look, this is what I need you to do. Give me I need a made in Japan suede.
Those are if you can get them, I mean, they're expensive. So expensive. And they do small batches. And then we just did the GV special, which was in the made in Italy. So I copped 2 pairs of those. Because one, I saw the first one came out, I got them on foot, and it's it molds to your foot. It's a nice soft leather. It just tumbled perfectly. And then I was talking to one of the PLMs. They're going to do away with that shoe altogether, because they kind of lost their shirt on it. The profit side of it wasn't worth it, because the cost of the shoe is so high because of the materials that they used. So if you want a good premium leather shoe that fits good, feels good, that's one that you should, if it's still available. I'm not even sure, but that's one that's good to go.
I think I saw that in passing too, and I didn't even think about it. I would say, get me that shoe and just make me in your lab at home. I need a nitro Strobel to put in there. Look, I'm giving you ideas now. Go ahead and take this, and we're gonna revamp these old shoes.
I have stuff downstairs that have been desoled and decoupled, and I have a whole lab set up that I have my next thing that I'm working on. So I'm trying to I'm working on speed cap prototypes. I'm working on some inhale prototypes, like a combination of stuff. Like I'm always kind of like, what would work with what would kind of like fit with whatever. So it's like a Frankenstein hybrid type thing.
So you said the Speed Cat. I am not gonna lie to you. I never saw that shoe coming back. That was such a moment in the early 2000s.
It was.
I remember having a pair. It seemed very like a niche moment. Like you look back, like, oh yeah, I remember Speed Cats, and just what. I mean, they got super popular now, and I feel like you guys don't have to come up with a lot of colors. I think what is it, red, black, and is there yellow maybe? And
yellow, there's two forms of yellow. There's yellow on yellow, and then there's yellow with a black form strip.
Okay.
That one just dropped. They did a green as well, which is like kind of like a tealish green.
Okay.
They just dropped a royal with like it's almost like a grayish white form strip. I just picked a pair of those up.
Interesting.
There's a bunch of colors, and there's more coming, but like they started going with like the low profile look. So the H Street is coming back. That was like a shoe. These are all shoes from like the archives of like early 2000s.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean that's the wave right now, man. Right, Y2K, like you said.
Exactly, and I lived in New York when those were out. So like I remember like I wasn't into buying that's when I started buying more, but I wasn't into buying as much.
Yeah.
And I would see like everybody downtown in Manhattan walking around in like Mostros, Speed Cats, H Streets. Mostro's coming back big too. And every time I saw him, like, oh, that person is a tourist. It's usually like European tourist people that wear them.
Tell.
Because I mean, like, it's just the fits that people were wearing with those shoes. It kind of went with like where it was more European. Sure. It was European influence, right? So I didn't think that it would make a comeback either. And then like we had a meeting about 8 months ago or a year ago when they were like, so this is where we're going to be focusing our attention. This is what's coming into market. And I'm like, what? Wait, does like? And then they just gave us a list, and I'm looking at the list. I'm like,
you thought it said Speed Cat, right?
I'm like, are we doing racing shoes again? Okay, here we go, Speed Cat shirt. And it's like it's Formula One inspired, right? So it's kind of low profile, has the heel tab that kind of protects the suede from when you're driving. So all these things, but like there's collabs coming out with a lot of those models and stuff like that. So keep an eye out for that. I mean, they're striking while the iron's hot. Speed Cat is big right now. Like for a while, the first 2 drops that they did sold out like instantly.
Yeah, that's what blew my mind. I'm like, what do you mean you can't get them? Like I used to be able to walk in any store to grab a Speed Cat. Like that's cool. I mean,
they did.
I feel like.
Oh, sorry, no, I was gonna say they did a powder blue that was kind of like a Carolina blue with like a darker blue form strip. That one sold out like within seconds of being online. I've
seen that one. That sounds pretty cool. If it was a suede.
It was
or nubuck?
Nubuck or suede, I can't remember. It wasn't leather. It was either nubuck or suede. I never got to see it because it sold out before.
I didn't even know that one existed. I gotta find that one because that would be a pretty cool color.
And then there's a cream and tan one, so it's like a brown and cream.
Yeah,
that one dropped the same day that the baby blue ones did, and they was sold out quick too. So like now the black and red are like I guess you could say like the essential colors that they kind of like restocking the most in because it's kind of like the go-tos or the classic colorways. So yeah, they're dropping more and more colors here and there. So
that's crazy how the tides have turned because when I was in like grade school, like middle and high school, when the Speed Cats were out, it was like, oh, what are those? Everybody's like, Air Force Ones and Jordans, and now we all want the Speed Cat. Like, oh no, I was right all along. So
I mean, it's a hard shoe. Like
it's hard to wear.
It is. I bought a pair because I wanted to we had an in-house customizing little thing, like they'll do like little workshops and stuff.
Oh, that's dope.
So I was like, oh, bring a Speed Cats and customize it. So I went down there. I'm like, all right, I can probably do more in my house in half an hour than I did. So like, I'll just do my own and bring it in. But like, I got a pair for that reason, just to kind of like make it my own, customize and stuff. But like, I put it on foot and it feels like a house slipper.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like a moccasin with a rubber sole, right? So I put it on. I'm like, all right, I can't really wear this though, because like my fits just don't work with that shoe. Like it's kind of like. But then I see other people rocking them and they look good, and I'm like, I can't pull that off. So it's a hard shoe to wear,
I'm not a fashion guy, Rick. Look, our clothes come from Target, so I see these people like putting these fits together with these Speed Cats. I'm like, that is amazing for you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look like a goober if I go out there trying to do this.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm getting up there in age too. I'm older, so I'm like, I don't want to be like the guy that people like see me walking through. Like, all right, he's trying just a little too hard. I mean, like, tone it down. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be doing the dad fit yet, but like I want to be kind of like still coolish, I guess. But yeah,
it sounds like I'm trying to be cool, but I'm like I don't want to look like I'm trying that hard. Like you say, right. I can't go out there looking like, hey, sir, we know you have 4 kids. Calm down. Like,
Relax. Exactly.
So, as we talk about, something that's very hot, I gotta ask you about something that I feel like it was just kind of a moment that just didn't last. The beaded cushion. Remember, I don't know what it was called. It was like they filled the bubble up with the little like micro like beads.
Yes. Yep.
What was the name of that? Because I don't want to know.
Damn, now you're killing me. That was before my time with Puma. I know exactly it's true because my direct manager, he actually developed that. And there was like a little injection port in the bottom that you basically like they would build the mold and then they would fill that injection port, fill it with the bubbles, and then they would seal that port so it wouldn't escape. So it was more like we have a lot of shoes like the Excellion and other styles that are basically like they call them VizTech, right? So like visual technology, right? Some of them there's actual tech. Other ones it's just windows to see the technology that's there of foam working. Okay. That was one of those things where it was like bubbles were there, but I don't think they actually served their purpose. Hope I don't get in trouble for saying that.
Okay, I was like, so were they actually? I was looking like, does that work?
It's the technology now. I mean, Nike had it too. Remember, Nike
did, and that did not last at all. Like you guys at least had a couple models. They had one, and it was abysmal.
Right. I mean, like it's just moving beads. I don't think it actually did anything. And like the whole theory behind it is as it compresses those beads, it would absorb the impact.
Yeah.
They would allow you to kind of like land softer and then kind of like rebound.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually worked. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, so
it's a mystery for all of us.
It was before my time. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, shoot. I mean, I really appreciate the time today, Rick. It was Puma was one of the brands. Like, I mean, you see, there's a nice stack over here. One of the brands, like a legacy brand for me since I was a kid. I mean, from Suede's, Clyde's, middle school had a lot of the GV specials. Yep. And of course, the stuff you guys are doing now is awesome. And of course, I just love keeping up with you on Instagram and stuff too. Yeah. Man, I love what you're doing out there with your customs and just being a fellow sneaker collector is always nice to be able to talk to someone who's not just stuck in the same. I gotta just get this one Jordan, and that's all we're gonna talk about. Right. So, man, I mean,
I try to have variation in my rotation here. I mean, it's I do the best I can, but yeah, definitely keep an eye out. Like I said, there's models coming out. There'll be more Suedes, there'll be more Clydes. GVs, if you wore them before, it's a completely different fit because I worked with a team developing a new last and stuff like that. So we basically changed the last on that and also the fit of the shoe. So like the tooling's changed and the last has changed. So the shoe actually is a little bit wider and it sits a little lower on the midsole. So like the old GV, when you looked at it, it had like a really round toe. This one sits a little flatter, so like it still has the same fit. It's more comfortable. We changed the compound in the midsole too, so it's more cushiony and it more just kind of overall better fit. So yeah, if you like the GV, that's one to keep an eye on.
Hey, add it to my list, man. I was like, I gotta make sure I gotta hide my list, make sure no one. Like, don't worry about these shoes coming in the house. Don't bother. But no, man, I appreciate it. And guys, make sure you do follow Rick. Rick, let them know where to follow you, man.
Just at Soul Specific. Right now, it's just Instagram. I did away with TikTok, and on Twitter/X, I had deactivated my account for 30 days. I went back and I was like, oh, it's past 30 days. So they just closed my account. I'm like, all right, we'll forget about it.
Same here, man. I was like, you know what? Let me leave this place. And I never looked back, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I was like, every time I was on there, all I did was just argue with people back and forth. My wife's like, are you getting a kick out of that? I'm like, it's where I go to like just get my sports aggression out of it. So yeah, it was probably better for everybody.
Oh shoot, man, Rick, I appreciate you, buddy. And guys, really go follow Rick, Soul Specific. He has some really, if you like customs, he has some very, like, when I say well done customs, he does a heck of a job. It's not just stuff just like Frankenstein together. He really has some thoughtful things he puts there, and we really appreciate him for showing up today, hanging out with us. And you guys know, of course, follow Sneaker History, hit the subscribe, like all that stuff. You know how it goes, and leave comments, guys. We love comments to know how we're doing. And till next time, guys. See it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Hey, y'all. Nick here. One more thing before you take off. Do us a solid and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Check the links in the description to help us keep the show going. And as always, we appreciate you listening. And don't forget to tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how far a compliment will take you. And we all know how good it feels to be on the receiving end of some appreciation. Peace.